So what happens when a Yamaha R1 and a Yamaha Roadstar cruiser bike get together and have a baby? The Yamaha Warrior. Cue the intro. So it has just been informed to me by my parents, they felt really bad, that that's not actually how motorcycles are made. One motorcycle does not have a baby with another motorcycle. They're actually manufactured at plants. I'm sorry for the confusion. The Yamaha Warrior is one of the most iconic and just awesome muscle bikes, and the reason I never include it in my category of muscle bikes is because honestly you never see them. I've only had 2 of them in the thousands of bikes that I've owned, and this is one of them, and I think it's already sold. If it's not, check out the website Srkcycles.com. Now, a lot of people say that these are actual Yamaha R1 parts that they took off the shelf. That's not actually true, but the rims and the brakes and the suspension are based off of R1 parts, and some of them, if you look up forums, can be interchangeable with actual R1 parts. The Yamaha Warrior has a air-cooled V-twin 1671cc motor, which ends up being about 102 cubic inches if you want to compare that to like what the Harleys are. It's pushing out around 85 horsepower with 99 foot-pounds of torque, with a 200 back tire and a 120 front tire. So if these were actually R1 wheels, the front tire and the back tire, they'd be 17s. The front tire is an 18, the back tire is a 20. And the Warrior is actually sitting pretty light at a fairly slim 620 pounds for a big bike like this. It almost has a wheelbase, 8 feet long. Not a wheelbase, but it almost has a length of about 8 feet long. Beautiful looking, very unique, 5-speed close range gearbox with a belt drive. The overall ergonomics of the bike are very muscle bike. If it was a cruiser bike, I'd be sitting up right here, but because it's a little more out forward, it's very muscle bike. The forks are very far in front of me. The handlebars come back to me, and it's actually a really comfortable riding position. I'm pretty excited to take it for a spin. I've actually never ridden a 2007 1700 Warrior, but I'm pretty pumped about it, and I want to see what the 0 to 60 is. Without further ado, I'll check this thing out. Listen to what it sounds like. It's got a great sound. Let's take this thing for a spin. All right, guys, before we do the Yamaha Warrior test drive, let's do words of wisdom. Psalm 55:22. Cast your burdens upon the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken. Amen. Let's put on my M1 Moto gloves. This is my first time driving this generation Warrior. I've driven the old one like an 02. Actually, similar to the one we have back there. I like these gauges. You got a digital tachometer, and then you got your classic analog speedometer. Now, I've driven a lot of 1700cc Roadstars, and I think they're geared more just for torque. They're not really set up, and the way that the fuel mapping and stuff like that, they're quick. It's still a big motor, but I think this is gonna have a whole lot more punch. I mean, this thing's got 99 foot-pounds of torque. That's a lot of torque. Like, chances are that's more torque than, a lot of cars have. All the cars in Europe, let's just say that. All right, we're gonna do a little different test drive route. We're gonna do the reverse of what we've been doing. So we'll do 0 to 60 first. This is a very comfortable, seating position. I really like this. I've always kind of appreciated the muscle bike ergonomics, the muscle bike stance. So your feet and your arms, it's kind of like this. It's like a V. It's like a sideways V. It's like the greater symbol. Instead of like this, where you're sitting down like this, your feet are out in front. Now, in terms of longevity, and do I want to do that for hours and hours and hours and hours, I don't know. But in terms of just doing short rides and hot rodding it and street light to street light and that fun stuff, yeah, it feels great. Very comfortable. These are pegs, not floorboards. You're gonna be able to get a little lower. You're gonna feel more comfortable getting a little lower. And I'm pretty sure this might be the stock exhaust. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds good. It's got a really nice growl to it. Man, it's dusty. I just gave it like 20% throttle. My back end kicked out a little bit. That goes to show, like, there's no like loose gravel on here, but just that dust really making it slippery. And it's not my back end that I'm worried about, it's my front end. It's that front tire. When you lose your front tire, that's when stuff starts getting a little hairy. All right, let's do this. Now it might be a little dusty. There. Like I said before, it is a 5-speed, but when I'm going highway speeds like I am right now, my RPMs are at like 2.5. So that top gear it's perfect for highway cruising. The bike's not struggling. If I actually go down to what speeds are at some spots in Pennsylvania, if I go down to 55, I'm barely at 2,000 RPMs. At 55, I probably want to be in 4th gear, to be honest with you. Feels great. If you were wondering, is 1,700 cc's big enough for a man on the highway? I'm gonna go. I think we busted that myth. And then when you crack the throttle, get yourself up to the highway speeds. Yup. It just pulls, and it pulls really hard. And honestly, it starts pulling even harder once you get to like 3,500 RPMs. Really, really cool looking bike. I like what they did with the Warrior. I kind of wish they would bring another one back. But Yamaha's not really making cruiser bikes anymore. I couldn't tell you which ones they're still making. Because you go to a Yamaha places and they've got like 2015, 2016 still sitting out on the showroom. I think Yamaha made an awesome bike, but they, for whatever reason, when it comes to selling them brand new, I guess they weren't that great. When it comes to selling them used, I love them. Yamaha makes parts for everything. They're simple to get, they're easy to get, they're reliable, they're fast, they're fun. A lot of people ask the question, they're like, well, so they don't make that bike anymore. Does that mean it's gonna be hard to get parts for it? Well, it's like, all right, well, what do you drive? I drive a 2012 Chevy Suburban. It's like, well, they don't make 2012 Chevy Suburbans anymore either. You know what I mean? The new body style Suburban that came out in 2014 is not the one you have. It's a different vehicle, you know what I mean? It might share a couple parts, but it's a different vehicle. And you can still find parts for them. Companies make parts. That's how companies continue making money off the sale of a bike, is by making parts for bikes. Now when it comes to handling, it's you know, it feels good, but you can tell it's a longer, it's a more stable wheelbase. Now this is obviously to a certain extent, but the longer the wheelbase, the more stable the bike feels. That's why when you see these bikes that are, you know, drag race bikes, and you know, where they stretch out the swing arm, or these like land speed bikes where they're real long, the longer it is, the stable it is. Now that I'm sure there's some extent you don't make it 1,000 feet long, you know, it won't still be stable. But, and then in the same way that the shorter the wheelbase is, the less stable you're gonna feel, you know, going fast, but it's gonna feel super nimble. That's why sport bikes have found some type of great middle ground, where not only are they nimble and they handle well, but they're also incredibly stable at the higher speeds. Wow, man, this thing's got a kick to it. Let me just get this thing up to the speed limit. There we go. I'm impressed. This Warrior kicks, and it doesn't stop at 60. It just keeps on going 80. I mean, when I say when it goes past 60, the speed limit and the speed limit, and then when you get to the speed limit, it just keeps on going. When we're talking the close course track stuff. What a great running bike. Warrior. Cha-cha-cha. Alright guys, that wraps up the test drive of the Yamaha Warrior. I never see these things. This was one of the bikes that I saw at the auction, and I said, you know what, I'm going to buy that bike. I don't care what I have to pay for it. I ended up getting it for probably a little more what I wanted to pay for it, but that's, when you make a statement like that, that's probably what's going to happen. Because you have 20 other guys who are like, I'm going to buy that bike. Brakes feel good, shifter feels great, it pops in the gear nice and smooth. I believe it's a cable. Yes, cable clutch. Feels light. Feels very light. Alright guys, that wraps up the test drive of the 2007 Yamaha Warrior. Check out the website, Srkcycles. Maybe we still have it. I don't think we will, but we have another one. Actually, we do have another one. Oh yeah, real quick. I got a chance to go be on another YouTube channel with my buddy Ed from VinWiki. If you've never seen VinWiki, V-I-N-W-K-I-E, go check out their channel. My video is posted. It's the one with the Bronco. There might be a link below. Check it out. It's actually it's a story I told about a very interesting mystery that happened with me and an old Bronco in a barn that I owned, and I'm still trying to solve this case. Alright guys, remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.